Hello and welcome to SMTV. We're glad to have you with us today. I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Jamie McCook.
Sometimes it's fun just to take a look back at what happened the previous month, especially in advertising, because it changes so fast, and this is how brands are getting out there and becoming viral when it's really great content.
Yes, and you should definitely go and find the top 20 for November, because there's some definitely interesting ones on there.
Yeah, these top 20, YouTube's 20 most shared ads in November. Mashable put out a great article that lists them all, and we don't have time to talk about all of them, but you can just scroll through and see some really creative ad campaigns that don't, and I think the key is a lot of these don't feel like advertisements.
Right, they're more videos as opposed to like sales, like buy from us. It's more just, videos about random things, like the first one that we watched about the little funny tune. It's very catchy.
It is very catchy, and I think that that's the key, is that a business needs to really think about what the audience wants to see, not what product is coming up next.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Shareable is the way to go.
Yeah.
Because if people are going to share your video over and over again, it's way better than putting up a billboard or something, because more people are going to see it that way.
Well, and that's sort of what we found out with this woman. I pulled up her Facebook page. This is Bridget Mary McCormick, and she just won a seat on the Michigan Supreme Court after having spent 51% of her budget on Facebook ads.
That's very interesting.
It is.
I mean, I guess it's a great way to do it, especially if it's last minute, because it was a last minute donation.
Well,
right?
that was so interesting that it was a last minute donation, and she had to figure out a way to spend it all before the end of her campaign. So she put it all in Facebook ads.
It's instantaneous, though.
That's
I mean,
true.
all you do is put your budget in there with a credit card or whatever, and then just post away.
It worked. Facebook ads for a lot of different reasons, including politics too. I mean, we saw that. We talked a lot about the the 2012 election, but it's interesting to see how it works on a local level too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm very impressed. I mean, maybe there's more to it, but still, 51% is a big chunk of money to throw into a social media effort. It's a lot.
It is. The last thing we'll talk about are some tips for tilt shift that we saw also on Mashable, and this is a great and popular now form of photography that blurs out large sections of the photos to isolate certain sections.
I love these pictures. I'm not an Instagram user, but this makes me want to go start using Instagram just to take pictures similar to these.
It does, yeah. The main tip that this article offers is to have clearly defined lines in your image so that you know exactly where you can break. This part I want out of focus and this part I want in focus. And you can sort of see that in some examples, not on this article, but there's some really cool photos that have been shared around here. Let me scroll down.
Do you have the train one? Or the city?
I do have the train one down here. Let me scroll down here. There's a hockey one. I mean, so the idea is these look kind of like miniatures. Oh, look at that one.
They do.
That's cool. It looks like you're looking at a little miniature train with miniature people, but the reason is because these out of focus sections of the photo up here trick you into thinking that.
That's insane. I'm kind of amazed. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm gonna go use it now.
You should go check it out. And it's one of those features on a lot of the software like Instagram. They have these out of focus features like tilt shift and blur that you can really play with and really have fun with.
I'm going to go to a Mavs game soon, so maybe I'll try taking a picture, like looking down at the arena.
There were some of those, yeah.
Because those looked really cool.
Yeah. Check it out. Well, we love talking about current events and all the latest social media news. We also want to hear from you. Let us know what you're working on, and let us know if we can answer any questions for you.
You can email us your questions to questions@splashmediau.com, or you can tweet them to us by using the hashtag SMTVQuestions.
Let's take a couple questions now from our viewers. Ben would like to know, what are some good online sources to stay updated on social media?
My favorite is Mashable.
Clearly, we've used it here several times on the show.
Yes, I mean, because they put things out right away, and so I love that. Another one, Splash Media, of course. I mean, we have everything, so.
We do. We have a blog. SMTV is a great resource for that. There's some other great websites like Social Media Today, Social Media Examiner. Even some of the tech sites I find have a lot of great social media resources like TechCrunch. And CNET, even they kind of border on social media stuff because they talk about the tools to use social media, which is kind of cool too.
Right. It's not really hard to find social media out there now. It's getting talked about constantly and everywhere. So you can just go to Google and type in social media, and I'm sure you'll get plenty.
Definitely.
Gary wrote to us, why do you think Apple does not participate in social media?
Great timing, Gary. Actually, there was an article recently about some interesting brands that are huge household name big brands that still don't participate on social media, and it could be for a variety of reasons. And Apple, of course, is on that list because Apple, the #1 most valuable company in the world is not on Facebook officially or Twitter officially, and it's interesting.
I kind of think it's a control thing. They want to have control. I kind of like to have control over all their apps and everything for the Macs. It's like I think they just don't think they don't want to deal with having to control the conversations because they're not going to go the way they want it to sometimes, I'm sure.
I think that's exactly right. I think, you know, it's easy to let social media get out of control, even if you have very, you know, dedicated people working everything and posting and listening. It's very easy to kind of let it get out of hand, and I think Apple, I think the case would be very different if Apple was not huge going into the big social media push of 2010 through 2012. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If Apple was not already this huge company with a massive following, I think things would look different.
Right, because building up is a little easier than just jumping in head first with however many people that have following them or Facebooking them. It could be a little overwhelming.
But that's true, and I think they probably feel like they don't need to. At this point, everybody knows what an iPhone is. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what an iPad is. Do they need social media?
There's been lines for every Apple product they've come out with.
That's true.
I mean, you're right. I guess they probably don't really need it. I mean, it may be a good way to communicate and like talk to your audience, but if they're buying from you anyway, I mean.
And that's not the only reason that brands have stayed away from social media. So the rest of the article here that mentioned Apple as one of them also included Trader Joe's, which is also kind of a private company, Marlboro, interesting, and Viagra. And I think those two, Marlboro and Viagra, kind of fall into the same category because there's so many legal issues with drugs and cigarettes that it's hard to embrace everything when there's so many restrictions. You know
right. I mean, because traditional advertising is a little different, you know, because they can put up billboards, they can do, you know, radio ads or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, you're right. Social media does have a lot of restrictions that some people don't want to take the time to learn because it is a lot.
That's true. Awesome questions. Thanks for being with us today, and keep those questions coming. For Splash Media, I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Jamie McCook. Have a great day.